Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about supplements and whether they are safe or not safe, and which category of supplements are most likely to increase the likelihood of you ending up in the emergency room. We're going to talk also about some very interesting research and data about whether you need supplements or not, and something called soil depletion, which we'll get into later. And of course, if you do need supplements, which ones are going to be the best quality and how to determine that for yourself, so you don't have to fall into any gimmicks or marketing tactics and put the best quality stuff in your body. So I want to start off by some very interesting data that came in 2019, where the FDA looked at over 300,000 different supplements and actually had to seize them and withdraw them all from the market because they were contaminated. And what we see is a large percent of these supplements are contaminated with microbacteria, fungus, heavy metals. They might not even include the supplement that you think you're taking. They might have too little or too much of the supplement, so you're not even sure if you're getting the right dose. And worst of all, it can actually have pharmaceuticals and other drugs that are illegal or harmful to the body. Another study looked at 138 different supplements and found all of them to contain a fungus that is actually toxic to humans. And so again, this is something that they're not doing regularly, but when they do test it, they do find that most supplements are contaminated. And reason being is because it is one of the least regulated industries in the United States, unfortunately. With that being said, most people probably worry more so about shark attacks when they go to the ocean than thinking about buying supplements online or from a store or anything like that. But the reality is, if you look at the data, you're over 300 times more likely to end up in the emergency room from taking a contaminated or tainted supplement as opposed to actually being in the emergency room because of being attacked by a shark. And so this is quite interesting. Now, there's a few categories that we tend to see have way more instances of people ending up in the emergency room. So if you have any guesses, feel free to write it or comment it below. But the first guess, in case you're wondering, the first supplement that leads most people to the emergency room, disproportionately so, is the weight loss supplements. So if you're taking a weight loss supplement, or if you wrote that down, a good job for writing it down, bad job for taking it, and we're going to talk about how to determine the right ones here, okay? The second category of the most contaminated supplements, unfortunately, tends to be energy enhancers. And most of us here, we need the energy, and so it's very common for us to use these kinds of supplements, but unfortunately, a lot of supplement companies end up putting various pharmaceuticals or even illegal substances. And there's actually a loophole where they can get away with doing that without actually getting in too much trouble because they're not likely to get caught. And so for all you nerds out there or fellow doctors, this is going to make perfect sense to you. But essentially, instead of adding methamphetamine, which is very dangerous, very addicting, and very harmful on the body, and it's very effective too, it'll definitely increase your energy, they'll take the methyl group and replace it with a carbolic group. And so it'll go undetected, but it'll still have these negative effects on the body. And so people can take these supplements and thinking, wow, I feel really good, I have a lot of energy, this is awesome, I can't wait till tomorrow to take it again and again and again. And because they love it and because it's effective, they're more likely to continue to buy it, but unfortunately, they're taking amphetamines and various pharmaceuticals and drugs, and that's assuming it's not contaminated with heavy metals and pesticides and microbacteria and toxic fungus as well. And so that's the second most common one to lead people into the emergency room. The third category are sexual enhancers, and those are quite common amongst older males, I would say probably 40 and above, but we're seeing younger males using sexual enhancing substances as well, and they think that they're getting some kind of performance enhancers, and a lot of times they do, but some of these actually have been found to contain Viagra and Cialis and other pharmaceutical erectile dysfunction medications, and some of them also contain various components that are disruptive to your hormones. And again, there's a right way and a wrong way to take these supplements, and so I will get into that later in this video, but watch out for those sexual enhancers as well. Now, the fourth category is going to be heart health, and that one is a really shocking one because in some sense, it makes sense that weight loss supplements, energy enhancers, sexual enhancers will be contaminated. But can you imagine if you're someone with heart issues or have a history of heart disease and you're trying to prevent heart attack, which is one of the top killers in America, and you're taking these supplements and it is the fourth most likely to actually lead you to the emergency room? That's absolutely devastating and it's absolutely unacceptable. And so again, if you're taking these various vitamins, herbal supplements, and minerals that are supposed to be good for the heart, we're gonna talk about how to detect and know what's a good brand, what's a good supplement that is gonna be high quality, that will most likely help your heart, as opposed to worst case scenario, hurting it, or best case scenario, just being ineffective. The last category, of course, is the bodybuilding supplements. And that one, as you know, people, especially young teenagers who are working out and athletes, they take a lot of different supplements to help them with recovery, muscle strength, and muscle size. And unfortunately, that is one that has led a lot of people to the emergency room as well. So I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, all right, let me take all my supplements, let me toss them away, and I'm just not gonna take anything at all. And if I eat pretty healthy fruits and vegetables, I should be pretty good, right? And I am a huge fan of eating healthy, and that is the foundation of health, so you definitely want to do that. But unfortunately, there's a few studies that have shown something called soil depletion. And why this is relevant to you and me is because what we found is through the Industrial Revolution, we've been farming and depleting the soil of all these vitamins and minerals. And just over the last 70 years, when you take a look at some of actually technically the 48 most common fruits and vegetables, they found some pretty interesting things. So what they found is that the vegetables that we're eating nowadays have 46% less calcium, 76% less copper, and more than 60% less zinc. And they're finding that the fruits, likewise, which are supposed to be a good source of the B vitamins and antioxidants, have almost 60% less of these B vitamins as well. Now, why is this important? This isn't something that, oh, it's just no big deal. Why this is important for us is because it means that A, we're gonna have to eat about 2 to 3 times more vegetables and fruits that our parents and grandparents had to eat 7 years ago, but also that we're gonna be deficient in these very essential vitamins and minerals. So even if we're eating healthy, even if we're eating organic, we're gonna be severely deficient in these vitamins and minerals. And these aren't just little side characters when it comes to your health. These are vitamins and minerals that play a role in your energy levels, in brain development, in your mood, in your nervous system, in your bone health, in your reproduction and fertility, in your energy levels, and the list goes on and on and on. Antioxidants for immune system. So these are very, very important. And so if you think, okay, if I'm just eating healthy, a ton of fruits and vegetables and organic, I might not need supplements. Unfortunately, that the evidence is showing that might not necessarily be the case, and it is still quite common for people to be deficient even if they're eating really healthy. Now, you still want to do that, but it's not a bad idea to supplement as well for any deficiencies. So next up, we're going to talk about how to find a good quality supplement. So how do you know if you're taking a good supplement? Well, first of all, we're going to try to move away from the word supplement because those are usually the ones that are very unregulated, they're very bad quality, they're not third-party tested, and what you want to look for is a nutraceutical. So ideally, when you are taking your supplements, you want to be taking nutraceuticals. So those are pharmaceutical grade nutrients, essentially, and they're going to go through much more strict and rigorous standards than most of the supplements that you'll be able to find on Amazon, on health stores, and at the grocery store as well. The other thing you want to look for is you want to make sure it's in an FDA-approved facility. So what that means is the facility in which they're processing and packaging and creating these nutraceuticals should be regulated and approved by an FDA. And because the supplement industry is not very regulated, and it's actually one of the worst regulated industries in the United States, having an FDA-approved facility just takes it over the next level, because that is the same facility technically where they should be creating our drugs and our food. And so that already increases the standard by quite a bit. The other thing you're going to want to look for is GMP. So what GMP is good manufacturing processes. And what that is essentially is from finding the ingredients, to packaging it, to putting it into capsules and powders and sealing it. All of that is regulated, it's very stringent, and it's very high quality to make sure even the way the staffs are trained, how everything is done is very standardized to ensure the highest quality and the least amount of risk to you when you're consuming these products. Now, the other thing you're going to watch out for is there's a lot of companies that are going to claim to have these, but they don't actually do it because they know no one's going to check them, and so they can throw these seals around, but really they haven't gone through these standards. So make sure your company actually has these standards. The other thing you want to make sure too is ideally it'll be made in the United States. Why is that? Well, we can control and regulate what's happening here. Whereas if it's overseas, someone can tell us, yes, this is turmeric powder, yes, it's not contaminated, but we won't know for sure. But if it's harvested and grown and packaged and supplemented and everything done here, then we can have more control over the quality of these nutraceuticals, making sure that they're top notch. And lastly, one of the most important things too is you want to make sure it's third-party tested. So pretty much what that means is there's a company, they have no skin in the game. Their only objective is to check for these microbacterias, those contaminants, make sure the dose is accurate. If it contains the ingredients that are in there, it checks for the fungus and any other contaminants in there to make sure that each batch is in fact high quality, it's uncontaminated, and it's got the ingredients at the dose and at the right ratios that it says on the label. And so for them, it's in their best interest to find these issues and to detect it, because if they don't, then they're the ones that end up getting in trouble. And so if we have a third-party tested product, if it has good GMP certification, if it's made in an FDA-approved facility, if it's made in the United States, these all increase the likelihood that this is going to be a good nutraceutical, as opposed to one that's more likely to be contaminated or best case scenario, useless and ineffective. Now, a bonus one is if you can find something that is doctor formulated or doctor approved, that is excellent as well. There's a quote where you don't know what you don't know. Well, healthcare providers know a lot more than the average person does. And there's a lot of things that the average person might not know, that they don't even know that these healthcare providers do. And so if you have a supplement company that has a doctor on board that helps formulate and regulate and approve these things too, of course, it's much more likely to be a higher quality supplement than one that doesn't have a doctor on board to help regulate and control the process as well. So with that being said, guys, that's it. Hopefully it was useful, and we'll see you next time.